What's up, everybody? It's your boy Season. So today we've got another super robot review. We're going to be taking a look at the CCS Toys Great Mazinkaiser Champion Edition. Now, originally there was only supposed to be 100 pieces of this made, but I was able to get my hands on one. So we're going to be taking a look at this today. Let's not waste any more time. Let's go. So let's see what we have inside for this edition of Great Mazinkaiser. Now, the thing about the CCS boxes, they are humongous. They're really, really thick. So unfortunately, because of all the amount of stuff that we get with this guy, I'm gonna have to shoot it from the top down. But as you know, I really am a sucker for CCS's artwork. Now, of course, this is digital, but just look how magnificent that looks for Great Mazinkaiser. That looks amazing. I'm trying to get that out of the light there. So he looks awesome. And then of course, especially for the special edition, look at that artwork. Oh, wow. That looks amazing. So I love that part of it. And then we do have the manual. Now, I don't expect this to be too much different than the original Great Mazinkaiser from CCS. So this is not really gonna be a full review, but I do wanna kind of go over the differences and stuff. So that's what mainly this review is gonna be about. But of course, you've got Great Mazinkaiser here. You've got the effect parts here. This is the part of the Great Booster there. Let's move that up. And then of course, why you're really getting this is for the new heatsink for the chest plate. And apparently this is supposed to be Japanese writing. I'd have to verify that, but it does look awesome. So it's a extended part. You do get this one and the original. So, you know, you can kind of swap them out in and out, especially since now I have two versions. You can definitely do that as well. So you've got that. And then you have the two swords here. You've got this for his version of the rocket punch. And then you have all of his effect parts. We've seen all of this before. The differences mainly is that this one looks more like fire. So it is a yellow, orange, and red color more than a electric blue or purple color that the original had. So you'll see that. Also, you'll see some of the color differences in the gold on it. It's not as deep of a gold. It's more almost like a faded look, I guess is what I would say for that. So you do get those. And then this is the wings of the Great Booster. We've seen that. That's the part of the fins for the sides. And then you do have his sword there. And then you have the stand here with the plethora of hands. And of course, as you can see with the transparent or translucent hands, those are now orange instead of purple. So you do have those as well. Now, one thing that this edition does not come with that the original did is you do not get the nameplate for Mazinger Zero versus the General of Darkness. You don't get that plate in this edition, which is kind of odd, but you know, you do have that. So now what we'll do is we'll take a look at Great Mazinkaiser himself. So let's take a look at this version of Great Mazinkaiser. So as you can see with the new heatsink on there, it definitely stands out a lot more than the original one did. You can use the original one with this one though. So you can do that. As far as the Great Booster, it's more of a metallic red. I think the original one was an orange one. We'll do a comparison with the original here in a little bit, but it's definitely a little bit more metallic here. So you do have that. And then for his joints, let me grab him. Of course, he still has the same problems the original one did. So the stuff with the feet, I still have an issue with, but let's just take a look here. So this looks to be, to me, more of a rose gold or like a copper. I don't know if I like that one as much as the original one was just like a normal gold. And I would say that this one has a little bit more of a matte finish, but I wouldn't say by much. Like I said, once we do the comparison, let me see if I can get him to stand up straight here. But yeah, unfortunately they did not fix the thing with the feet there. So let's get him planted there. All right. So, but I think overall he still does look well. Also, his lights for the heatsink and for the eyes still work. It also does pulsate as well. And we've gone over a lot of this in the original review that I did for Great Mazinkaiser. This is practically the same. It's just a little bit of a color swap, and you get the new heatsink. That's pretty much the only major differences. So I don't really need to go through all of that. You can check out that video on the channel if you like. But what I'll do next is I'm going to bring out the original Great Mazinkaiser, and we're going to see what they look like standing side by side. All right, so here we have Great Mazinkaiser, the Champion Edition. So we do have him there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring out the original that I've done a review on the channel before. And we're gonna have them, I'm gonna try to have them side by side. They're so big, both of them, as far as the Great Booster and stuff. But as you can see, the original is a little bit more, I don't wanna say, I guess accurate to the manga as far as the colors are concerned, the orange of the booster, but I will say that I do like the metallic red. I would say that I like the metallic red a little bit more. Now, as far as his accessories and stuff, they're pretty much the same. Like I was looking at the sword off camera, and it's pretty much the exact same. So there's not really gonna be any need to go over like a lot of the accessories and stuff. But I would say, other than that, like the rose gold here, or like a very pale gold versus the original gold accents, I like the gold accents on the original a lot more than the rose gold. But the heatsink I do like more on the new one. So I do like that. I'm looking at the fins here. Yeah, they're pretty much identical. It's just whether you want the rose gold or you want the traditional gold. I like the more metallic blue that the original has versus like this matte black. This actually looks like Mazinger Zero as far as his color palette, to where it was very much like a, I won't say a gloss finish, but like a flat coat. And it's more of a grayish black here. So I would say that I still believe that the original stands out a little bit more, but the heatsink here, to me, the heatsink was the main reason I wanted it, and it looks amazing how they have that. So it does look really, really sound, but I do like the Great Booster on the new one. So it really just depends on which one you like. I still think that the original, if I had to choose between the two, well, I'll save that for final thoughts. But yes, the original one, I still like that one. So, and I wonder, let's go ahead, since we have them both out and we're sitting here, let's take off the heat sinks and see if this should work. Because this is probably the way I'd probably have it displayed. Oh yeah, just like that. And then you can take the original and you can put that one on there like that. So it does work that way, so you can use them interchangeably. You also do get the original one as well with the new Champion Edition. So I just probably won't take it out, as I'll probably just have it with this one on there. But I think that it does look amazing. Let me put this one back. So that's really your comparison. Now, what I will do as well, because the only other thing that really is different is the lightning effects. The original was more of a purple, and the new one is more of like a fire yellowish orange. So what I'll do is I'll get out their effect parts and we'll see what they look like. And then also I'd be remiss not to add another one to the Great Mazinkaiser family, which of course is Mazing Emperor G. So, and of course he's a totally different design. For CCS, I think that that would probably be the best way to do this, if when they do another release of this, is get the Mazing Emperor G. I think CCS will do really, really good with that one. Not to say that this one is bad, all right? The Ryobots one is very good, but as you can see, these two are definitely bigger than the Ryobots one. So I just want to bring him out because I hadn't forgotten about him. So now what we'll do is we'll take a look at their lightning effects and we'll see what that looks like side by side as well. So here we have both Great Mazinkaisers with one of their hands that has been lit up. Now, generally speaking, they're about the same. It's just a different color. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off all of the other lights so you can kind of see it a little bit better. So here we have it with the lights cut off. So the brightness is about the same. It's just whether you want the purple or you want the yellow. Now, for it being dark, I would probably say that the yellow one does stand out just a bit more, but you also have to remember that these batteries are newer compared to the one that I had in the original. But also what we'll do is we'll actually turn on both of their heat sinks and their lights in their eyes, and we'll see what those look like. So first, let me do the original. All right, and then let's do the Champion Edition. So for me, the heat sink for the Champion Edition definitely is brighter, but like I said, also you have to remember that these batteries are brand new compared to this one. They're about a year old, even though I don't turn it on almost ever. So, you know, so I will say that the lights shine a lot brighter in his eyes for the Champion Edition. And then you can still get it out of the original, but I would say that this is brighter. So it does look like I don't know, they made it maybe a little bit more reflective in here for the heat sink. Maybe it's just because it's bigger, it's hard to say. Compared to this one, I don't know if you can even see this in the camera, that it does light up, but it's very, very faint. So we can actually have those pulsate as well, just like that. So you can see that. So really this one just comes to personal taste. I like them both as far as the different color choices. The yellow, I will say, does stand out a little bit more in the dark than the purple one does, but that's not because the purple one is bad. And actually this is probably more accurate to the manga. The purple one is anyways, but that's what you have there for the lighting. So let me go ahead and turn the lights back on. All right, yep, so now that we've got the lights back on, like I said, this pretty much is just personal taste. Which one do you like better? I like them both. There's not really much. I will say that the lights for the new Champion Edition, I think they went in and fixed that a little bit compared to the original. Because I remember with the original, and if you go back to the review that I did, with the original, I thought that the light for the eyes was very, very faint, to where with the new Champion Edition, that looks like that has been corrected. So it does look like they've made a little bit of different changes to it. Also, I'll say that with the wrist as well, this one doesn't come out as much. So I don't know if they put maybe stronger magnets in this one than they did in the original, but I will say that it does seem like you can move the hand a little bit more without the whole thing coming out. Because I do remember in the original review, that was one of my main gripes with this guy. So it does look like they've made some subtle improvements, but I wouldn't say that it's enough to go spend another $300 or whatever. But I think overall, both of them look nice. And, you know, we'll see what I'm gonna do for final thoughts. I haven't really thought about it that much, but so that's what you have for both of these. So let's go ahead and turn these lights off. All right, and then now we will get into final thoughts. So last thoughts on this guy. This is an interesting piece. Now I have not messed with the Great Mazinkaiser from CCS Toys in quite some time, but I probably would say this is my favorite Mazinger piece. I don't know, maybe it has some sentimental value because it was the first one I ever bought, but I don't know, he just looks so cool, this Great Mazinkaiser. I don't know if I'd say he looks cooler than the original Mazinkaiser, but it's pretty close, I'm not gonna lie. So for this Champion Edition, is this something that you absolutely have to get? I would say if you're an owner of the original, I would say no. Even though there are certain aspects of it that I do like more than the original, mainly with the bat wings or the Great Booster, the fact that it's more of a metallic red than an orange, I think it gives it a little bit more flavor, I think. The yellow accent parts instead of the purple ones, that you could take it or leave it. I do think that the yellow ones are a little bit more striking, even though I think that the purple ones are probably more accurate. So it really just depends on your own personal taste. I do like the fact that it looks like CCS did fix the eyes with Great Mazinkaiser, because in the original review, and even going back to it with this one, the lights in the eyes were very, very weak for the original. So I think the fact that they fixed that, I do like. Pretty much it still has the same problems that the original had. I will say that the joints on this one do seem to be a little tighter, but that could just be with the fact that it's newer compared to the one that I had last year. The one thing that I don't like about it, I don't like the rose gold. I think that the rose gold is okay, but it's not my favorite. You've got rose gold for like the knees, and then you've got more of like a faded or like a brush gold for some of the other joints. I think I like the original like really dark yellow gold. I think I like that one better than this version of gold. I think that the other one is more striking. Also, I would say that the black and gray tone on this guy, he is a little bit more muted than the original. So it really just depends on which version that you like. But yeah, I would say that you don't need, if you have the original, you don't need to get this. This is more like if Great Mazinkaiser is your favorite one, then, you know, if you can find him, good luck. Now, when I went and looked for this guy, because originally this was a limited edition that was supposed to be a show release only, and they only made 100, and it was for some show in China. and I was going to try to get my hands on it, and I was able to track it down thanks to one of the US retailers. He was actually able to get it for me if I wanted it, but they wanted to charge me $680. And even though I like this guy, he's not worth that. So I'm glad that I waited. I'm glad that CCS did make this available. Now, whether or not this is still truly limited as far as only being 100 pieces like it originally was supposed to is anybody's guess. I really don't know if they decided to mass produce this, or maybe they're just selling the ones that was left. I did get this one on Hobby Link Japan, and I got it for roughly about $230, which was the price of the original. So having this guy as an extra version of Great Mazinkaiser, I do like it. But yeah, I wouldn't say that if you own the original that you're missing out all that much. I would say the main thing that this one comes with that the original does not is that extra heat sink that it has now. It's a lot bigger, it's a lot wider. I'm pretty sure that it does have some sort of Japanese kanji on it, but I'm not sure what it says. I haven't been able to find it online as far as what the meaning was, or if it's just there to be cool. Now, it is a lot bigger than the original heat sink for Great Mazinkaiser, so he can be a little bit cumbersome when you're trying to maneuver the arms and things like that. But I think overall, they did a really good job with this, and this is a slight refinement of the original Great Mazinkaiser. So with this guy, there's not really a score, as this is really just an add-on for the original Great Mazinkaiser video that I did last year. So for those who wanted to see a comparison, that's really what this review was for. And so there's not really any need to give it a score, but I think it is a very, very good set if you can find it. This one is going to be extremely hard to find. I don't know if there's only 100 pieces available or if there's going to be more. Who knows? But you know, we'll see what happens in the future. But anyway, so thank you guys for watching the video. If you could like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, send this one out to all of the Great Mazinkaiser fans. I would appreciate it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.